you wave? Yeah, can you wave? Hello. No, not bad. Look, wait, look. Whoa. You wave that? You go. Hands out your mouth. You wave. You're bored now. Go wave. Wave. You go see mummy now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You wave. Bye bye. That was number 2. Hi everyone, welcome to Rage Print. I'm Andy, and this is episode 6 of our chopper build. And it's the hottest day of the year, so let's do some droid building. Because I'm mad like that, you know, why not? Footshells and battery boxes. Enjoy. Right, so here we are. We start off with the M3x10 grub screws. Some EMA. Yeah, just try and get the camera to focus on it. EMA. Some 2-part epoxy resin, which does not last very long in this heat. This is the day where it hit 31. So you can see here we're starting with the 2 footshells, black and white, printed on different printers. The grub screws go in the holes I'm pointing out now. The white piece, I actually had to glue back together. The print failed halfway through. It had trouble printing the supports of where the U channel starts, and just went wrong. So in the end, I had to stop it, go back into Cura, drop it down by the amount I printed, then print the remaining piece, and then glue it together. You can just about see the line above where they cut out, where the curve, where the battery box sits. So anyway, we're dipping grub screws into resin, which is I must admit, I'm quite enjoying the way this build goes together like that. I can see where Mike quite likes doing it now. It's a nice mechanical bond, sort of a physical bond, I suppose, more than mechanical, but it's a physical bond as well as the glue as well. I feel that EMA is probably much better to use on than 2-part epoxy for the rest of it. Yeah, this was a stupid thing to do in the heat. The EMA has already evaporated before I finished putting the second layer of epoxy on top of the grub screws, so I have to go back and put some more EMA on. So yeah, just push the 2 together. Give it a good squeeze. And balloon connectors. And there's 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. So just put a bit of EMA in and push the bone connector in. Run a bit more EMA there, yeah. And then down the sides, let it soak in, squeeze it together. Oh, and nearly lose the bottle. Yeah, as I said, there's 2 more on the bottom as well. Just push these in, and I had trouble with the 2 bottom ones. The black plastic had left a lot of brim around it, even though I peeled the brim off. I think it was it squished to the bed a bit more than I wanted. So the first layer was quite thin. Yeah, it was quite flattened. So yeah, I was trying to use a clamp to push the bone connector in, even after sort of drilling the piece out a bit. Yeah, and using the side cutters to try and get the hole a bit bigger. So in the end, yeah, I'll give it another go. And in the end, I resort to. Hang on, I'm about to get it out. Yeah, about to get it out. I resort to brute force and ignorance using a hammer. So just very gently bash it in. It didn't work the first time. It basically bashed itself out. It wasn't in level. So give it another try and just very gently bash it back in. and then it just pops in. And to be honest, that creates a nice tight bond actually. So just run some EMA there. And down the sides again, just to make sure it all sticks together. Just a bit of squeeze of the plastic melting and just rub the plastic back together. You can see here I'm using the clamp to stop, even though there's a bone connector there and there's the two-part epoxy held grub screws, there's still a little bit of twist in there, so the clamp is just holding the two pieces in line until the whole thing dries. Just putting the other bone connector in, and there's one more after this on the bottom. I think I had to hammer that one in as well from memory. Yeah, another clamp. And the last bone connector on here. So I'm just grinding out the brim that's left. I don't know why it's so hard to remove there. Maybe it was just too squashed down. Yeah, there we go. Oh, drop it. Just hammer it back in again. And again, there's going to be a nice tight bond on the bottom. Along with the EMA, along with the resin, along with the grub screws. So there is a bit of a gap, which is there, and I think it's where the resin was drying too quickly, and it's created a bit of a bump for me to squish it against. I did try and clear the resin out from, this sort of overspill from the holes, but I missed a bit. So I vainly try to push it back together. It doesn't quite work. I think I'm just going to have to use a 3D pen to fill that in. There we go, that's one done. Sorry about the camera keeps flickering in and out of focus. It's trying to focus on something that comes near it. So not the next video, but the video after, I'll turn autofocus off and just have it focused on the cutting mat. So now we're starting off one of the battery boxes. I printed anything that's I printed in white. I know that went together. They're the same battery box, and likewise the other one's printed in black. I know that's the same battery box. When it came to me actually putting the battery boxes together, I realised that they were actually identical, and it doesn't matter which way around they go. So even if I mixed them up, it wouldn't have mattered. So again, just putting some resin and the grub screws. So I hope everybody's been enjoying the heat anyway. It's personally I found that 31 was a bit too hot for me. 25's fine. Oh yeah, hang on, before I carry on, you'll notice that I've missed a hole at the top, and I realise about now. There you go, yeah, I just realised I missed it. Missed a grub screw, I don't know how I did that. Anyway, yeah, yeah, 31's a bit too hot for me. You're sat in this workshop, just even though it's in the shade as such, it's still hot. It's still humid. If I was doing it outside, the PLA just would have melted in this, and the EMA would have just evaporated, and the resin probably would have dried as soon as I was mixing it up. Worse than it already was. But I mean, the kids enjoyed it. They're out in the paddling pool every day. We're spending most of our time outside in the shade where possible. Yeah, enjoy it. It was nice to have some nice sunny, warm weather opposed to cold and rain that we had done for the last few weeks. It's maybe not quite as hot next time. So that's one. I've been talking over the battery box. That's one battery box done. It is literally just a couple of grub screws and some EMA pushed together. and repeat again for this one. As you can see, this one, as I said, is black. That means it's supposed to be for the other leg, but it doesn't actually really matter. Of course, I say that, and probably find out later on there's a specific maybe like one little hole I haven't noticed that's specifically for one leg. Luckily, the magnets are all the same way around, so I should be able to just swap them over if need be. Oh yeah, for some reason the black was a little tighter, so the grub screws actually had to be Allen keyed in. Just a couple of grub screws. So I hope you've all been keeping up to date with LozCon. At the date of recording, that is tomorrow. We're actually going to be doing the, I say final put together. There's probably quite a lot to do. We're going to be at Loz's, and we're going to be putting the R2 together. I hope you've been watching the little videos me and John have been doing of the pre-build stuff or the main building. Loz has appreciated it. It's a lot. It's a lot to do to build sort of a droid for somebody. I mean, he has paid for it all. But the rest of the builds community have been brilliant about obviously him at the top of the queue effectively for us to get it done. We get just EMA in around there to put the battery boxes together. Yeah, LozCon. Big shout out to Mark Lay for laser cutting the pieces for Loz and then sending them to John for us to build. And also for building the drives, which we'll see on the video, which will be the live video tomorrow, as the date recording. Yeah, keep an eye out for that. This is probably one of the only things you'll see on Rage Print where it's not a 3D printed object. Although there are some 3D printed pieces in there, not many. But it's all styrene, but basically how my R2 was built. So yeah, that's the second battery box done. That one does have a bit of a gap, which I tried to squish back together. It wasn't having it again, it was the resin. So now we're on to the final foot shell. Now you may be wondering why I did the other foot shell afterwards, and that's because you can just see them in front of the wooden stick for the resin. The bone connectors. I actually ran out of bone connectors. I had to print some more bone connectors out, and I used the, you'll see in a minute that they're actually too tall. Now I used the ones that are in the top level of the chopper folder, and I didn't realise they were a different size. I assumed they were all the same. I should have used the ones that I think they're in the body folder. Yeah, I think they're in the body folder. I don't know why the ones on the top level folder are a different size. Mike might have changed it since I last downloaded the folder. Just something to bear in mind that when if you run out of bone connectors and you want to print them, these ones are taller. They're exactly the same dimensions, that they'll fit. They're just taller. Yeah, you'll see in a minute when we get to that point. So just putting some resin on there. Now these are the foot shells. The drives I'm going to come back and build probably the episode after next. So the next episode is going to be the centre foot. I think the episode after that will put the drives in. I think I've got everything now for the drives, and they just slot in. Yeah, they just slot. Sorry, the foot shell slots over the top is probably a more accurate way of putting it. There you go. There's the bone connectors. You see how they're like twice the height. So yeah, they just push in. And I'll chop them off in a minute. Yeah, so the foot shells just slot over the drives, and I think there's a few screws you put in to just hold it in place. Just trying to see if I can see them on the foot shell. I think it's the protrusions, the grey protrusions on the inside. sorry if you can hear me yawning. It's actually 25 past 11 at night. The first voiceover I did, I actually lost. It just didn't record. Don't know why. I'm using a new program called Shotcut, and the voiceover is a little difficult, so I've ended up doing this in Audacity, and then I'm going to import it back in and work it out. Anyway, yeah, so we're just gluing the last piece of the footshells together. Again, using the clamps just to stop them shifting sideways. So, as you may have guessed, the kids have not been helping me. I mean, they are 3 and 18 months. 20 months, so it's not so really surprising, but they keep coming in the hand to see what I was doing. Hear a little cluster of feet behind me and then, Daddy, what are you doing? They don't know who Chopper is. They know who R2 is. They never watch the films, they never watch the TV shows, but they know who R2 is. There we go, chopping the bone connectors off now. Yeah, they know who R2 is, because R2's behind me. They don't know what he's related to. They know who R2 is. They don't know who Chopper is. They know Dio because Dio's on the shelf behind me, and they know what the pit droid is, or Ratchet as he's called to them. But again, they don't know that the Ratchet is a pit droid that is a droid from Mandalorian and Episode 1. So they will in time. But yeah, Chopper. They have no idea who it is. I say, oh, I'm building Chopper. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, no idea what you're on about, but okay. So, yeah, just using the side snips to chop them off. And a bit of EMA just running down inside the bone connectors now, and I'll just soak all the way through the infill. And probably hold it a lot better than it would if I hadn't done it. Yeah, if I hadn't had to chop them. So, yeah, that's that bit done. Next up, we're doing the magnets. So back to the first foot shell and there we go. So that's the 10x5s and 10x2.5s and N35s. Yeah, so the 10x5s are N52s, they're N35s, so not going to be quite strong a pull. Luckily, they're only holding a tiny bit of, they're only holding a small bit of plastic on. So the 10x5s go where I've just indicated, and then it goes on the pegs, and then it will just latch into place. Now on the other side, my apologies here, the camera won't pick it very well. There's a 10x2.5 there, and then a 10.5 there. Yeah, at the bottom, and then again at the bottom, a 10x2.5. So I'm just trying to catch the shadow so it picks it up, and it just latches on like that. The hole at the top is access for the bolt hole, I believe, when the ankle goes on. In fact, yeah, just below that bolt hole you can see what looks like a screw hole. And I think that's how the drives get attached. So here we are again, just putting a bit of resin in the holes and put the magnets in. I need to find a better way of marking the magnets because I get confused. I take a magnet out, place it down, and then I put the bit of plastic, put the bag down, and I forget which way I put the bag. So then I pick the bag up and I think, oh, is that the traction or is that repel? And that's why I get myself confused. I shouldn't really get too worked up about it because I've only made 2 mistakes with the magnets so far, and I've put in, what, 20 magnets? They just need a little bit more faith, really. So there we go. I'm just trying now to see if it's the attraction side, and it is because the magnet comes flying out. That's half the problem. I want to check before the resin set so I've got time to flip it over. But likewise, checking before the resin set means the magnet will come flying out if you do happen to have it the right way around. You can see here I use a bit of cardboard just to stop them slamming together so I can't actually get the two apart. But yeah, just put the magnet back in. And there we go, I'm happy with that one. So we turn it around and now it's the foot detail, I think it's called. We just put some magnets in there. So it's just called a greebly. Just looks. Foot detail greebly is probably a better way of phrasing it. But anyway, yeah. So just a 10 by 5 and a 10 by 2.5. And yeah, they go into the holes on there as well. So it's the mirror. Yeah, it's really not liking to pick the white up, is it? Barely see what I'm doing. Yeah, and a little 10 by 2.5 at the bottom. Just double checking the attraction, yeah. Yeah, maybe I will mark one edge with a Sharpie as I remove it so I can remember when I pick it back up that that's the arbitrarily north side. I don't know how you tell which side's the north and the south on a neodymium magnet, but so yeah, it's just a repeat on the other battery box now, and footshell and foot detail greebly, as I now christened it. So magnets go in. Same again on there. Yeah, I'm going to give it a try now just to see if I've got it the right way around or the wrong way around. As I said, I need more confidence in the fact that I know what I'm doing. So yeah, there we go. I had it right and they just come flying out. So now I've got to put them back in again with the danger of them putting them in the wrong way around. So yeah, I've actually run out of 10 by 5 magnets in the little jiffy bag. So I now have these these ones in a cardboard tube I ordered for something else. I can't remember if they're N52s or not. I'm fairly sure they are N52s. But as there's nothing on the packet, I don't actually know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only got to hold like a little piece of plastic on, so it should be fine. Yeah, it's not like it's holding something in place which is being wrenched around on a rotating arm or something. It's just holding a piece of plastic on a foot shell. So there might be a bit of bouncing going on, but that's about it. Turn it around the other way and just make sure it repels. And then that's it, that's that one done. Except for I'm not quite done, as I think I am, because I missed a magnet on top for the foot hose. So I'm just trying to work out which way around the foot hose goes, because I was never really clear when I built the legs. I think it goes there. So anyway, I'll go and get the leg. And yes, I know it's dropping lower than it will actually sit, but at least it gives me an idea of how that sits. Yeah, like that, I know I can look at it and go, right, okay, that's how it sits. Especially when the legs are rotated for 3 leg mode, which I'm trying to replicate now. I just noticed that crack there on the corner. I'll have to double check that and make sure it's not it's not a crack. Otherwise I might have to glue that bit back together. No, the corner of the ankle, I mean. Anyway, so grabbing the unknown strength 10 by 5 magnets. Oh, after I clean off the resin. There you go. Something I'm going to invest in, I think, is going to be one of those little silicon resin mixing pots. You just peel the resin off then. That's something I saw the Smuggler's Room use, and it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so here we go, putting the magnet in. Then a little bit on the end of the foot hose. I'm putting the other magnet in, just double checking which way around the polarity is, and put it in. And just to double check, I'll get a piece. Do that. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's it. We're done now. We're done. Right. So I wasn't kidding. The hottest day of the year, but the fan is still going. It's still hot. So yeah, it's currently 10:30. It's still warm. Right. So looks like it's worked. Noises you don't want to hear when you pick things apart. But yeah, so it's a nice snap and nicely done. And then the battery box. So as you can see here, I don't think I probably didn't mention it, but little pegs here and here, and there's little peg holes at the bottom there, and then they should nicely slot on, he says, and then the magnets should hold it on. So moment of truth. It's worked. Yeah, so I think I mentioned this in the voiceover, but there's a bit of gap filling that needs to happen there, and a bit there where for some reason the connectors are bigger, so I need to fill those. And then we're ready to put the battery, the actual drives in at some point. We'll just double check the other one, and here's the other one, and you see I've already put it together. So again, nice snap. I think it's still a bit of wet resin there, so that's why it's slightly sticky. But anyway, that's on. And this battery box. So again, the two holes, the two pegs, and you just slot them together, and then give it a bit of a shake. That one doesn't feel quite as attached as the other one did. Again, more gap filling around there. I think it's where the resin was setting quicker than I could put the two pieces together. And then effectively I was creating like a raised bit, it wasn't pushing flat. This one should work in this heat, I suppose. But anyway, they're done. So next would be the centre feet. Centre foot. So only one foot. And then what we'll do is we'll get this onto two legs. Get this onto three legs. Loosely bolt together. I won't be able to bolt the ankles into the. I won't be able to bolt the ankles in because there's nothing to bolt them to yet. So actually be sat flat. So chopper might actually look a little bit lower than it should be. Yeah, that's relatively straightforward. I think anything else just hampered by the heat and humidity with the glue. I mean, it's still sticky now after even a few hours. So, but yeah, thank you very much for watching, and maybe next time I might actually get one of the two kids to help me rather than running off and doing something else. But yeah, see you again soon. Bye.